And what's up, guys? It is fight week. Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And I'm gonna give you my picks, Golden Boy style, baby. All right, guys. Raul Curiel, Victor Rodriguez. Both guys are undefeated, fighting for a world title eliminator. Who do I got? Raul Curiel, late stoppage, great fight. Floyd Schofield, Tevin Farmer, youth versus experience. I've got Floyd by late stoppage, and a new star is born. Zurdo Ramirez, unified world champion, taking on Torticos, the #1 contender. Who will win? In an all-out war, Ramirez will end it with a 4th-round knockout. All right, Jake Paul, Chavez Jr., experience or ambition? After a back-and-forth battle, Jake Paul edges it with a split decision in the 12th. June 28th from the Honda Center, live on the Zone pay-per-view.
Hey! Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has already started sending a message to Jake Paul ahead of their bout by knocking out one of his sparring partners in camp. The footage from training has spread across boxing circles, with insiders revealing that Chavez Jr. isn't just showing up for a payday, he's coming for a statement win. Canelo Alvarez recently threw his support behind his fellow Mexican. Canelo pointed out that this upcoming bout is a crucial opportunity for Chavez Jr. to restore his name and prove to the world that real boxing experience still matters.
Justo por Chávez, yo creo que es una oportunidad para él, para que se reivindique y creo que es una oportunidad muy buena para él y confío mucho plenamente que tenga esa victoria. Le deseo lo mejor. Debería de ganar Julio. Una buena preparación, mentalmente hacerlo bien y debería de ganar él.
Canelo has watched Chavez Jr. face criticism for years from fans, analysts, and even his own father. But now, with the world watching and Jake Paul continuing to polarize the sport, Canelo believes this is the kind of matchup where Chavez Jr. can finally shut down the noise and reintroduce himself as a serious contender. For many, this is less about loyalty and more about what he represents. A real boxer, someone who grew up in the ring, and someone who can potentially put an end to the Jake Paul experiment. Chavez Jr. himself hasn't held back. He's made it clear that this fight means everything to him. In his own words, he said, "If he beats me, I'll retire. I don't get paid. I don't want money if I don't beat him." While Chavez Jr. reportedly knocked out a sparring partner in camp and received public support from Canelo Alvarez, Jake Paul has been quietly grinding in the gym as well, showing he's taking this challenge seriously. Despite constant criticism about not facing real boxers, Paul is working hard to prove he belongs in the sport and is not just a celebrity sideshow.
Chavez Jr. has the opportunity to stop my career in its tracks. I just came off of the biggest fight in boxing history.
Training out of Puerto Rico, Paul has been posting consistent clips of his sparring sessions, strength conditioning, and pad work. Observers have noted improvements in his technique and timing, and his camp has stressed that he's fully focused and disciplined. Jake Paul showed respect for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. during a recent interview, acknowledging that he's not taking this fight lightly.
In my opinion, what makes Chavez a dangerous fighter is his experience, his toughness, his cardio. He has a lot of heart and he knows.
Jake Paul continued to show awareness of the challenge ahead, noting that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is taking this fight seriously. He recognized that Chavez Jr. is pushing himself in training like never before, which only raises the stakes for both men in the ring.
That I'm coming to win, and they're saying that this is the hardest he's ever been training.
His team, including trainers like BJ Flores, has emphasized that Paul isn't underestimating Chavez Jr., calling this his most dangerous opponent to date. He claimed, "This is Jake's toughest test. We're not treating Chavez Jr. lightly. Jake is training like his career depends on it, because it does." Meanwhile, the recent press conference went a lot heated. Their tensions flared between Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
But I'm gonna expose him and I'm gonna embarrass him. You know, he's the embarrassment of Mexico. Mexico doesn't even claim him, and he's gonna get exposed on June 28th. Because they say he's training hard. They say this is the most focused he's ever been. Good, and as he should be, because people don't realize how good I actually am, and when he feels those first punches, he's gonna want to quit and go back to his stool.
Chavez Jr., a former WBC middleweight champion with a 54-6-1 record, responded with confidence, emphasizing his rigorous training and experience. He highlighted that his father, boxing legend Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., had been impressed with his preparation.
Jake is crazy. I think he's overrated. You know, he's not fighting anybody in his life. You know, he's fighting old Mike Tyson.
And I beat Anderson Silva, who whooped your ass.
Then Jake Paul took a direct shot at Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., not just as a fighter, but on a deeply personal level. He referenced Chavez Jr.'s well-known struggles with discipline and substance issues, using them as part of his psychological warfare in the lead-up to the fight. He criticized, saying, "There's two things you can't beat. There's two things you can't beat, me and your addiction." The June 28th clash at the Honda Center in Anaheim isn't just a regular fight, it's shaping up to be a turning point. Jake Paul, now 11-1, has built a following and career on spectacle, former MMA fighters, and an aging Mike Tyson, but critics have long accused him of carefully avoiding young, active boxers. Many believe Chavez Jr., even past his peak, is the most authentic opponent Paul has ever faced. This narrative has split fans and professionals alike. Some, like Oscar De La Hoya, have credited Jake Paul for his business savvy and dedication to training.
Oh my gosh, what news to wake up to in the morning. Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez. Zurdo Ramirez versus Torticos live on the Zone pay-per-view. MVP Promotions, Golden Boy Promotions coming together. Let's go!
He then said, Jake Paul brings in fans and works hard. If he beats someone like Chavez Jr., you can't ignore him anymore. Meanwhile, Logan Paul, Jake Paul's older brother and fellow boxer turned entertainer, has shown his full support ahead of Jake's highly anticipated clash with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Speaking on a recent podcast appearance, Logan acknowledged the seriousness of this matchup and called it a major turning point in Jake's boxing journey.
Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
I think it's one of his toughest fights.
It's definitely his toughest fight. Jake, I feel like, has gotten stiffed a few times this year with who his opponents were gonna be. This is what I don't understand about people hating on him. He's not fighting tomato cans. Every single person that he fought had a chance to beat him, and by the way, people believed that they were probably going to beat
every
him.
time.
This guy is a real boxer, so it'll be another opportunity to show that Jake Paul is a real boxer.
But not everyone is sold. Veteran promoter Bob Arum spoke bluntly about Paul's place in the sport. He said, he's not a real boxer. He picks opponents he thinks he can beat. He's never fought a champion in his prime. Known for his traditional stance on boxing, Arum dismissed the matchup as entertainment rather than true competition. He also took a jab at Jake Paul's past fight with Mike Tyson, criticizing the bout for being more about spectacle than sport, especially considering Tyson's advanced age and inactive status.
Jake Paul is not fighting a real fighter. That's not even boxing. I mean, Chavez Jr., should have hung up. I thought he had hung up the gloves a long time ago. Jake Paul is not a boxer. It's a spectacle. The Tyson event was sort of demeaning for the sport of boxing. I mean, Tyson was an old man.
Arum made it clear that, in his eyes, Paul's approach is damaging to the sport's credibility. While Jake Paul has drawn huge crowds and pay-per-view numbers, critics like Arum argue that it comes at the cost of the sport's dignity and competitive standards. For Arum, no amount of marketing or sponsorship can make these fights meaningful within the boxing tradition he helped build.
What are we talking about? But again, if Netflix or somebody else wants to pay for that event, so I mean, that's fine, but I have no interest in it. I have absolutely no interest in a Jake Paul Chavez Jr. fight, because it's not boxing.
Similarly, boxing legend Manny Pacquiao shared his take that was both direct and critical. While the fight has generated a lot of attention, Pacquiao made it clear that even if Jake Paul wins, it doesn't automatically make him a legitimate fighter in his eyes. His comment reflected the mindset of many traditional boxing purists who still question Paul's rise in the sport.
It's hard to comment on that fight, but it's happened that way. It's up to the fans how they analyze it and how they judge it.
But from Hall of Famer Manny Pacquiao's opinion, do you think it legitimizes him if he beats Chavez Jr.?
I don't think so.
No.
Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez recently shared his thoughts on the upcoming Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight, giving a balanced and honest perspective. He acknowledged that this is a crucial moment for Chavez Jr., a real chance to bounce back from past setbacks. Ramirez made it clear that Chavez Jr. must give everything this time because the pressure is on to prove he still belongs at the top.
I think it's a comeback for Chavez Jr. and he needs to put a lot of effort in his comeback, and then he needs to win this fight. And if Jake Paul wins, we have to give credit because I mean he wasn't a pro boxer before, and now he is.
If you had to put money on it, if you had your money on it, who would you bet on, Jake Paul
I think
Chavez?
Junior. Yeah, Chavez Jr.
So what happens if Jake Paul wins and he fights you? What happens in that fight?
I beat Jake Paul. Yeah.
Easily?
Yeah, easily.
Easy money?
Easy money. Do you think he deserves a shot at the title?
Chavez Jr. hasn't been a perfect professional. His loss to Anderson Silva and questions about his discipline have clouded his legacy. But with this camp, he appears motivated like never before. The knockout of his sparring partner, his aggressive statements in the media, and the hard training all point to a fighter taking things seriously.
I like it. He was a little listless. He can get listless. But he's big. He's schooled in boxing.
It just does nothing for me.
Yeah, it is a challenge though. It's a legit challenge, right? He's probably
he got his ass whooped by Anderson Silva. Jake's already beat Anderson Silva, so it's like
if he shows up for the fight, if he's really training, he's fairly tough. How old is he now?
39.
Oh wow.
He's 40.
Oh wow.
I don't think that one's gonna get big numbers. It's just like, all right. It's not
actually
a good next step. It's almost like he's going backwards.
But
now.
wouldn't you say it's a good challenge for him?
No.
He's gonna beat him?
Yes. No, it's not a good challenge because he already got his ass whooped by Anderson. You know, it doesn't do much. I guess it keeps Jake active, and it's a boxer.
Yeah.
But the boxing, you're still gonna get validation from the boxing community, which is what he wants. It keeps him busy, I guess, so that's good.
Jake Paul responded strongly to critics who continue to question the quality of his opponents and the legitimacy of his boxing career. Despite facing a former world champion in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Paul made it clear that he's aiming higher and wants to earn a real title, not just participate in fights arranged for attention or entertainment. He claimed, "I want someone tougher, and I want a real belt, not just like something that gets put up for entertainment value." So it's great and all, but like, honestly, he's easy work, and I want someone tougher to shut people up. What adds fuel to the fire is that Paul has been training in Puerto Rico, posting clips of himself sparring and working on technique. Some fans praised his improvement, while others noticed flaws and questioned whether he's truly ready for someone with Chavez's experience. What once felt like just another Jake Paul event now feels more like a real fight with real consequences. Teofimo Lopez, the former unified lightweight world champion, offered a measured yet insightful perspective. Lopez acknowledged that this bout is a serious step up for Jake Paul, who is finally facing someone with a legitimate boxing background and world championship experience. In his view, this is more than just another influencer fight, it's a chance for Jake to prove whether he truly belongs in the world of professional boxing.
What's your take on Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez? Who wins? How does that pan out?
You know, people have this debate, you know, even for us, like, has he faced a real fighter yet? Has he faced a pro fighter yet? I think that it's a great startup to test the waters for Jake Paul. He finds a way to make it entertaining and execute. Julio Cesar Chavez Paul Jr., I haven't seen him fight in a while. We'll see what he does. You know, I think this is going to be a good step up for Jake Paul, though, at the end. You know, and to see if he's really serious about the boxing world. And I think he has been. You know, he's been showing that with MVP promotions, supporting the women's empowerment on that.
Great.
He's been really pushing it. So I think it's exciting for everybody. You know, may the best man win. And, you know, let's see what happens then.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has been largely inactive in recent years and struggled to live up to expectations. Despite being a former world champion, his career has been inconsistent, marked by controversial performances and multiple losses. His lack of discipline and motivation often overshadowed his talent inside the ring. Coming to it, former world champion and boxing analyst Paulie Malignaggi didn't hold back in his critique of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and suggested that his career success has more to do with his famous last name than actual achievements in the ring. He pointed out that while Chavez Jr. has had opportunities most fighters can only dream of, he hasn't lived up to the expectations that come with them.
I think Chavez Jr. is a better name for who Anderson just beat in boxing, who is tough though. He's lazy as hell. He's probably overrated as hell. If his last name, if he wasn't Chavez Sr.'s his son, he probably would go nowhere near a world title in his life. So boxing can be manipulated in that way. But you know, he gives you a little bit more to work with, because again, the element of surprise. If is he gonna show up in shape? You're worried about guys not making weight? That guy will show up not making weight. You know what I mean? Like,
now, this fight isn't just about bragging rights. It's about legacy, redemption, and proving who truly belongs in the ring. Will Jake Paul silence the critics, or will Chavez Jr. remind the world why he once wore gold? Let us know in the comments who you think takes the win. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real boxing updates, exclusive fight breakdowns, and behind-the-scenes content. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a punch. This one's going to be war.
Yeah, man, there's just that voice inside of your head that when your body's in that fight or flight mode and you think you're dead tired and you feel like giving up, it's just about conquering that voice and realizing the mind is so much stronger than the body and there's always more room to push. And I think a lot of that happens for me on the track. His track workouts are absolutely brutal, long runs, sprinting, not a lot of breaks. It's hot in Puerto Rico and muggy. So you really find out who you are, like I said, in those moments. And I just have that voice while I'm running that's wanting to quit, but you just have to push through that. And I think that's the art of fighting. And in the ring, you have those moments where your body's telling you to give up, but you just have to push to the next round and keep going.